the implication of the government's reforms is that people choose to litigate. And one of the difficulties, particularly in family law, is that that's not the situation. People find themselves in circumstances, often very economically unempowered, often against people who do have that power, and they have no alternative but to litigate. And they're litigating about the things that are most important to them in their entire lives, their home and their children. And the suggestion that somehow that the removal of legal aid will still afford those people protection because they can choose not to litigate or they can find some other way of funding their legal advice and representation is just simply wrong.
And that is simply wrong is your thought about all the cuts, or do you understand why these cuts are being made?
Well, there has been a thrust for a number of years to move family disputes away from court. And I don't think there are any family lawyers in the country who would disagree with that. The difficulty is that you have to be very careful about how you do that, because you have to ensure people are still afforded protection and still afforded the opportunity, if they need to get specialist legal advice and representation. And the difficulty starts with the fact that it only takes one party to make a fight. So whilst in principle it is an excellent idea to move people away from the courts, and therefore the removal of legal aid obviously helps in that, because a lot of people are not going to have the choice of going to court unless they want to represent themselves. When you only do it for those who cannot afford lawyers, what you risk doing is putting the most vulnerable most at risk, because those who are less likely to afford it are, for example, more likely to be the main carers for children, the primary carers, the homemakers, etc. They're going to be the ones who are often afforded no protection at all. They're going to be the ones who now are more likely to be in receipt of legal aid, and very often they're going to be the ones who are on the receiving ends of litigation rather than the instigators of litigation.